Hi everybody, welcome back to the world of creepy cinema. This is basically Christmas for everyone in our community. So happy Halloween, and I want to get into part 3 of 31 Days of Horrorween. So the first thing I watched was Host from this summer, the very first movie filmed in the pandemic, directed by Rob Savage. And I am so glad that I kind of went into this without going in depth with like looking at a lot of reviews or what people thought. This really impressed me. I have to say, it initially reminded me of Paranormal Activity, mostly because of the with these practical effects, with the scares and everything. I think it was really effective. Obviously, the actors like did all their own stunts because of social distancing and whatnot. And I think this was so, it wasn't like personally like scary or anything, but I think that it was so creative when everything was done. It didn't feel stale. Like the fact that they taped it through Zoom made it feel like super personal and relevant without like being tone deaf. And I just think it really impressed me. Overall, I gave it 2.5 stars. I think that Rob Savage is definitely somebody to look out for. The fact that he did what he did with this movie on the very small budget that he had, and he still was able to get a 3 movie deal with Blumhouse is huge. And even though technically they work on a smaller budget as opposed to what most production companies give their directors, it is a lot more than what he made Host for. So I'm really excited to see what he does next. Listen, we're going all over the place on part 3. I'm just going to warn you guys now. So, next, I watched Funny Games, the original from 1997, an Austrian film, cult classic thriller about two boys who, well, young men, who basically kidnap neighbors in their home and make them play sadistic games for their own amusement. But there's a twist on it, which I'm not going to give away in case you haven't seen it. But I guess to review it, to understand my review, you have to have seen it. So if you haven't, I'd still give it a shot. Go into it if you're curious about it, so you can form your own opinion. But to keep things spoiler free, I did not. It didn't connect with me. I understand what they were trying to do, but I don't. It didn't really hit the mark for me. I wouldn't really watch it. I yeah. I feel like that's all I could say without really giving it away. The performances by the people that played the family were good. I think that as far as direction goes, I do think that they held on a couple of shots for way too long to where it got boring, and it was a little bit slow moving in parts. But yeah, they also kind of set it up for a sequel, so I could see that happening in the future. Not that I would want to see it, but overall, I give it 1 star. Really not a fan. Next, I watched The Pale Door, which is a Shudder exclusive, I believe, and it's directed by Aaron B. Koontz. And I like to call this, technically it's a horror western, but I like to call it a witchy western. And first of all, I love the fact that they did this and really kind of created a new subgenre, or like brought more attention to the subgenre. And I think that sorry, so basically, this is about a group of cowboys who rob a train, and when they find a girl stuffed in a trunk, things take a turn. There are two brothers who are played by Devin Druid from 13 Reasons Why and Zachary Knighton, and I think that I really like the casting for them. I think their relationship was pretty believable, and they really like went all in, investing themselves in just the whole period piece and everything. I think that the this also co-stars Laura Waters, which I brought up because Devin and Laura also starred in another movie on this list, which is a complete coincidence. But this essentially ended up being very much about the relationship between the two brothers, which I think was written really well and effectively. I think that the effects were really good. I don't know what the budget was, but it was a really good looking movie. Um, there were some twists, like the way that certain kills or deaths happened, that surprised me, which was great. So overall, I gave this 2 stars. I would check it out if you're looking for something different. Martyrs, the infamous 2008 film by Pascal Laugier from France that I finally watched. I feel like not finally. I actually like just kind of um, heard about it in the last few months. Shocking, I know, but it's kind of like I feel like it's kind of like an underground like horror nerd kind of thing. But I checked it out, and essentially, in case you guys haven't seen it, it's about two women who exact revenge on the people that abuse the lead in this film. And turns out that there's a spoiler alert, a corporation kind of behind it all, for a very, very sick and messed up reason. But yeah, I like the fact that this did not pull any punches. When I tell you that the action in this movie started with a bang, I mean it. It really just hit the ground running after it quickly explained the lead character's backstory. It, I'd say I didn't love it. I wouldn't necessarily watch it again, not because it really traumatized me or anything, but because I feel like I don't know. This one might be one that I need like some time away from to kind of form a real opinion and like really let it sit with me a little bit longer. I might change my mind, but I was not crazy about the ending. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of keep it at that. I gave it 1 star, so it did not live up. But like I said, I could change my mind in the future. Who knows? Next, I watched the Day of the Dead remake from 2008, and the stars Mina Suvari, Nick Cannon, and Ving Rhames. I thought this was really fun. I have to say, it's not often that I find a zombie movie that I really like, to be honest. But this one was fun. I think that I think they used pretty much all practical effects. I think the makeup was good. I think that the comedic relief, I would say Nick Cannon plays like the comic relief character, and a lot of times that doesn't work for me. But it did this time. I actually like laughed throughout it, so that was nice. And it's also the stars Emma McCord, who I feel like I don't see her pop up on enough stuff, but I really like her. So that was fun. Overall, I think this is a really like nice kind of group. Which like if you're like quarantining with a group of people right now, it's really fun to like watch. It would be really fun to watch this group of people, and also I like the fact that it kind of has a love story. Not to give anything away, but it kind of it really adds to the plot and like the way the story climax in the third act, which was like a nice little moment. So yeah, overall I would recommend it. Ginger Snaps from 2000, another cult classic directed by John Fawcett. In case you don't know, this is about two teenage girls who end up in a very precarious situation when one of them gets bitten by a werewolf and they have to find a cure. This was fun. I like the fact that they used practical effects and the two characters, like the way they're written, actually it could have been super annoying, but it's actually like relatable and kind of entertaining and funny. So that was great. Shout out to the writers for that, and I attribute some of that to the acting as well. Um, I know they made a sequel to this, which like nobody talks about, which probably says a lot. It's probably not as good as this one. This was just it was wild, but it wasn't like super like it wasn't so crazy that it like takes you out of the movie. So I think it was really smart that they related puberty to changing, turning into a wolf. I think that was really smart. And overall, I give this a 2.5. I would recommend it if you are looking for something that kind of takes you back to your high school years Cam from 2018, directed by Daniel Goldhaber, starring Madeline Brewer from The Handmaid's Tale, Martyrs, and Devin Drew. This is that other movie I was talking about where the two of them are co-starring and actually play mother and son in this movie, which is funny. And this is about a cam girl who discovers that someone has been copying her work in her account to destroy her life, essentially. So this I thought was really cool. I think that the fact that Madeline Brewer basically played two roles was wild and should be commended. I think that it was really smart the way they made us feel super relevant and accurate. I feel like they probably did a lot of research into cam girls and just their whole lifestyle. And overall, I gave this 2.5 stars. The ending for me is really effective. It honestly, it really made me think twice about technology. So I think that that was their intended effects. It made it creepy, and I would definitely check it out. I watched the original Black Christmas from 1974, directed by Mr. Bob Clark, and this is essentially a slasher movie. There's not a lot to kind of explain or set up. There is a holiday break taking place on a college campus. The main focus is on this sorority house and people who live there, and things end up kind of taking a twist. I do think that this was overall it was smartly done. I think even though spoiler alert, the killer was inside the house, I think the fact that nobody in the house noticed it made it really believable because really who goes in the attic, let's be honest. Um, and the kills were well done. I think that the fact that they used a final girl that was pregnant was really smart considering the killer's like mental history and what was going on with him. Um, I do think they set it up for a sequel. Overall, I liked it. I give it 2 stars. And it's a classic, and if you're looking for something that is going to kind of put you, and I equate this to something like Gremlins that you could watch on Christmas. So that's something to kind of keep in mind for the future. And then I watched Better Watch Out. This is one that I feel like my opinion has changed on even in like the week that I've watched it within. This is directed by Mr. Chris Peckover from 2016, and it is essentially about a babysitting trip, what would you call it? Gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Next, I watched Better Watch Out from 2016, directed by Chris Peckover, which I've literally never seen anybody ever talk about. And that might be for good reason. This, my opinion, has really changed on, even though it's only been a few days since I've seen it. I've gone back and forth. I initially gave this 2.5 stars, but the more I think about it, the more it annoys me. This is about a babysitter who is about to move out of town, but she ends up watching this teenage boy she's watched for a few years for one last night. This boy is 12 years old. Things definitely take a turn. I initially thought this was a home invasion movie, but I was wrong. This is hard not to talk about without giving spoilers as to why I go back and forth about this. This is obviously a commentary on toxic masculinity, which is fine and good, but I think the fact that they used a 12-year-old boy to do it really kind of, it really bothered me. I think that it was slightly implausible. Okay, this is a smart kid, yeah, but the fact that he almost got away with murdering as many people as he did really bothers me. Thank God that our final girl in this ended up surviving at the end. But yeah, I think that this is kind of problematic. Yeah, I'm not sure I would rewatch this one. Next, I watched Ambrolet from 2012, and I had literally never even heard of this. I just happened to come across it on Voodoo, and this is about two best friends and a brother who are kind of making this little documentary, and they end up on the highway discovering a notice for an Ambrolet. Um, and this, okay, the one thing that bothered me about this, I will say, is that I feel like they rewrote the characters like in 2 seconds. Like in the same scene, one character went from being one way and the other character was another way to like those characters' motives swapping instantly, which was jarring and really weird. I don't know what was up with that, so that really bothered me. Um, this wasn't scary. I don't think they did a very good job of building tension either. The ending was, it was kind of predictable. I kind of figured that it was going to turn out the way it did. Overall, I gave it 2 stars. It's a found footage movie, so if you're really into that genre, you might want to check it out if you haven't heard of it. But overall, I did love it. So that's it, y'all. My very first 31 Days of Horrorween is officially in the books. Let me know if y'all liked it. This is definitely an interesting little project for me. And let me know in the comments down below what y'all are watching tonight because I'm thinking about a double feature between the original Halloween and the 2018 remake, but I might change my mind. So give me some ideas, subscribe to the channel, stab that thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys later. Stay creepy.